That fate was assured, and the steps chosen. And yet, you broke the unbreakable when you took the aspirement's place. I see you. On the day when the final dawn rises over the Iron World, I see you by my side on that day. The day of my resurrection.
Boo!
Your image is woven into the tapestry of things to come. I am the will of the weaver of destinies, and today I will weave a new thread of elusive possibilities and fickle chances. The thread that will lead you out of the maw of irreversibility. The thread that will help you find the keys to salvation. The thread that will guide you and the weapon of our return to me.
I'm sorry, what? Were you talking? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Excuse me.
The path is set, child of the dawn. The thread is woven. Follow it, servant of mine.
Well, damn. Hang on a second. I need a Alright, sorry about that. Let's go. In the dialogue.
Seneschal.
Forward!
The navigator's sanctum is silent. The Vox signal is stable, which means...
He is God.
The navigator gave his life battling the storm that nearly claimed the Von Valancius flagship. We will honor his memory, along with that of all who died this day.
Seneschal, we could tell us now. Who is that? Where's the Lord Captain?
Got some bad news for you, buddy.
As First Officer, it is my duty to inform you with the greatest regret and indelible sorrow that Lord Captain Theodora von Valancius is dead. May her memory never fade from the annals of the dynasty. By right of blood succession, and with the absence of other kin who could challenge this decision,
Hope? No, I refuse! No, I'm not doing it.
it is hereby declared that the successor to Theodora von Valancius is her heir, the rightful inheritor of the warrant of trade, and the title of Rogue Trader. The official ascension ceremony will be held at a later time. In the interim, have you lost your tongues? Hail your lady. It is because of her toils that we all still live. The deed is done, mistress. My apologies. I meant to say, Lord Captain.
Lord Captain. I like the sound of that.
The treachery of the Master of Whispers was fruitless, but victory came at a great cost. Lord Captain Theodora von Valancius perished along with her heir, Edelthrad, and thousands of crew members.
Throw the chaos scum out of the airlock. It's what they deserve.
Yet hope remained. For the second in line to the Rogue Trader dynasty survived. To hang the ancestral banners once again, and exact vengeance on the enemies of House von Valancius and humanity.
You know what's gonna be funny? Is when we have AI and they will be able to say your character's name. It's gonna be great. I have completed the prologue. Oh my god, that's great. Lovely, boys, lovely. You know, 5 hours into the game. I'll take it. But yes, PS3. Yes, indeed. All right, now we get to do cargo management. Learn more about the cargo on your flagship, the amount, types, percentage of cargo being filled up. Got it. So now we get away from the... Oh, you know what I just realized? I just realized that I've been blocking the pictures. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Deep shadows of weariness can be seen on Albert's face. Though the old officer's eyes are keen, they rake over you from head to toe. He frowns and mutters something and then nods to himself. Well then, your ladyship. I'm really glad I made a female. I think it's going to be awesome. Yep, no more voice acting. I wonder if I should use AI voices to make them different for everybody. That'd be pretty fun. You had us worried for a few hours there. The officer thinned smile, but after witnessing you fearlessly rushing into the fray on the deck, the only thing that surprises me is how long you stayed on your feet. Your strength only left you once the fighting was all over. Such fortitude is most admirable in a Lord Captain. You must now hold your first officer's briefing in your new role as Lord Captain. For many of those who are about to join us on the bridge, this will also be their first briefing. We've sustained massive losses among the senior and middle-ranking officers. Some posts have had to be filled with deputy. Some posts have been filled by the deputy's deputy, while others go unfilled entirely. And now the deck clans are deciding who will take over the leaderless crews. I am the lady captain, am I not? No. There's none of this bullshit. It's Lord. Now shut the fuck up. Or a dirty piece and all that. Indeed. Cheers, mate. Bow. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be with most wars. Like, it's so funny that it feels like we forgot here in the West that most wars do not end with peace and treaties and diplomacy. That the vast majority of wars throughout the entirety of human history only end when one side is dead or so battered and broken they can no longer resist. I mean, the two world wars are prime examples of that, right? Like, I love how so many people say that dropping nukes on Japan was somehow like the worst morally charged thing you could do, when it's like two things go against that. One of them is the fact that the Japanese, most people don't know, the Japanese were absolutely 100% worse than the Nazis. And the only reason we don't know that is because of the Holocaust. I think that's probably the reason. They were unbearably atrocious. And two, they were ready to fight to the end. And when it comes to war, personally, I'm with who's it? Patton, I think, that said this, that the goal of a war is to make the enemy die for their country instead of you dying for yours, kind of deal. That's a paraphrase. And basically that's what happened. It was either we sacrificed millions of Allied troops or we sacrificed Japanese civilians. And I believe we chose correctly. I mean, we did in Dresden. I don't see nobody complains about that shit. Here we go. Yeah, I think it was Patton. Yeah. It's just one of those things. It's like you've got, like, it's one of these deals where it's armchair generaling, 50, 80 years in the past, 100, almost 100. Man, damn, dude. It's 80 years in the past. And not only that, it's like you have two really shitty decisions. Which one is the least shitty for you? That's kind of what you got to roll with. because there are times in that where decisions have to be made and there are no good choices. That's not how the world does not always give you morally good choices that you can absolutely 100% feel great about. Sometimes you have to pick the least shitty choice. Telling soldiers like, I don't want you to die, I want you to kill. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, it's one of the things that while I don't know anything about what's going on with the government and the appointees that are going on, one of the things I do like about the guy that they chose for the Department of Defense, I believe, or is it the Secretary of Defense? Yeah, Secretary of Defense, is he wants to get rid of DEI and all the wokeness and make the military good at killing our enemies again. And that last part, specifically, that last part is the thing that really bothers me the most, that our military has moved away from. Because when I was in the military, it was right before all this shit kind of started. And like literally almost all the briefings that you go to is like, we were submariners, right? And so, or submariners if you really want to be an asshole about it. And that was our captain, our XO, chief of the boat, every person along the chain of command was basically, our entire goal is to make you better and more efficient at killing our enemies. That's the whole point. Everything I did was to make me better at doing that. And it was all the teamwork, all the building, all the learning about nuclear power, becoming a nuclear engineer, fucking keeping myself safe from radiation. It was all so I could kill the enemy better. That was the whole focus, every bit of it. If it doesn't make you kill the enemy better, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. And that's the same goes with any logistical bullshit too. And the fact that the focus of the military moved away from that just blows my fucking mind. Like, it's absolutely some of the most retarded shit I've ever seen. Wait, there's an I do not wish to be the rogue trader. Okay. There's a great article on the training process for submarines in the U.S. Navy I was reading a few months ago. Yeah. I mean, one of the funny things is because I was a nuke, I didn't actually go to sub school. Because sub school is 6 weeks, I think. Once you go to boot camp, then you get out of boot camp and you go to your A school, and A school teaches you what your job is. So like I was a machinist mate. So my A school was learning how to repair pumps, turbines, and all that stupid shit. Compressors, how pipes and valves work, how to repair them, how to fix them, what they're made of, all that type of stuff. Oh yes, absolutely. You are useless. In fact, you're treated like absolute garbage. For an officer, this is respectful contempt, sir. Yes, absolutely. Even officers are treated that. You still call them sir, but they're basically still treated like servants, essentially. Like, I had to train at least a dozen or more officers when they came to the boat. All officers are nukes, right? Not all submariners are nukes, but all officers on submarines are nukes. They all go to nuke school, and they all get trained in engineering first, and then they move to other shit later. So every officer has to be trained by enlisted nuclear personnel to learn how the fucking nuclear reactor works in practice. They already know how it works because they went to nuke school. And yeah, it's pretty much like that. But most of them are very humble. I've only had like maybe one officer that was ever that kind of problem, and he didn't last very long on our submarine, specifically because of that. And the funny thing is he came from the academy, and he was possibly the worst officer I ever fucking met. Almost all the others were extremely humble and like, wanting to learn, and they took orders from me like I was their superior, because I technically was. It's just one of those weird things. But yeah, you don't go to sub school as a nuke, because sub school is only, and so after you get out of A school, you go to sub school for like 6 weeks. But because I'm a nuke, when I got out of A school, I then went to power school, which teaches you about nuclear power, as well as how it relates to your rate, which is your job. So I learned about nuclear power as a machinist mate, and then I went from power school to what's called prototype. And in prototype, they literally stick you on an actual nuclear reactor with somebody watching you, and they train you on how to operate it, and you got to do all kinds of crazy shit. Like it's like a 6-month deal. Yes, when they fail, it's for the best. You're absolutely right. If you fail as a submarine officer, you go to the surface. And I don't think you can go to. If I'm not mistaken, you can't ever try to be a nuclear officer again. But you have to be pretty. You have to fail pretty hard to get kicked out of that program. Really, really hard. Yes, it is very rare. Yeah, absolutely. No. The repeat exams, that's normal. That's normal. Like when you're dual dad. Thanks, buddy. When you're in, what was I gonna say? It doubled it up, didn't it? Yes, it did. I need to turn that off. Sound alerts. But anyway, what I was gonna say is that there are quite a few people who fail in A school, Power School, and Prototype, and almost every single one of them, like, you can fail exams, and it's not the worst thing in the world. What really happens is that if you fail overall, then you go to what's called a board, and it's like an extra long board that lasts like 4 to 6 hours, and they ask you all kinds of questions and all kinds of other stupid shit, and then that's whether or not you get kicked out of the program. You might get rolled back. So if they think you're worth saving and you might be able to be redeemed, they might roll your ass back to the beginning of the program of Prototype or Power School or A School, depending on where you failed at, and then that keeps on going. Because one of the problems with things like nuclear power is that it's very fucking complicated, and so you can be an extremely smart person, but if you can't like hold a lot of knowledge in your head over a short period of time, some people just can't do that. But like one of the best nuclear guys I ever met failed his Power School. He failed Power School and he failed Prototype, and he still went on to be a nuke on an aircraft carrier. He didn't go subs. And the reason is because he went through his board in Power School and he passed it with flying colors. And the reason is because he's essentially like me. He's autistic, but in a different way. And so his mind doesn't really work very well with words on paper and diagrams and shit. But watching this dude take apart a car, it dawned on me. He's just a straight genius mechanic. That's what it is. But like all the writing and memorization and shit, it just didn't get it. And at the board, they found that out too. And it was the same way at Prototype. Once he got out of the book and paper phase, his grades like skyrocketed because he can understand the physical dimensions of these things. And some dudes even had a problem the opposite way. They were great at the paper and pen, and other guy but once they got on station and actually had to deal with the physical reactor and the physical plant, they couldn't fit it all together, and they flopped out. It's just really weird. And the funny thing is it's easier to pass somebody who fails all the book and writing shit than it is to fail someone who is who can't deal with the like real world implications of it. Because if you can get the real world implications, it's a lot easier to train you, because obviously you're going to be operating these things all day, right? Like he mentioned, the chiefs would bribe the tribunal they had to face with meals. What? The chefs would bribe the tribunal they had to face with meals. I have no idea what that means. So how did we lose so many officers? It appears the heretics were deliberately targeting the vessel's command. They knew exactly whom they were looking for and where they could be found, which is unsurprising given that their informant on the board was the Master of Whispers. And what's the agenda? Oh. Okay, it's a tradition that when you... Okay, so... Yes, that's true, but it's more like it's just a tradition. When you go to your board to get your dolphins, which is basically like your qualification to become an actual submariner, and they start treating you like a nub, that's NUB, non-useful body. What you do is you go before the chefs and you placate them and ask them to make you like cookies or treats or some shit for your board members. And so the board members are usually, it's usually a senior officer, a junior officer, and a senior enlisted personnel. So usually someone who's a lieutenant or above, and then one of the qualified ensigns or lieutenants, like the engineer, for instance, or one of your divos, and then division officers, and then a chief of some type. Usually you want a chief that's not... if you're a nuke, you want a chief that's not a nuke, and if you are a nuke, and if you're not a nuke, you want a chief that is a nuke. And the reason is because that way they can ask you questions about the things that they know about. Because all the officers are nukes, so they know how to ask you the right questions. And as a nuke, I got asked almost 0 nuclear questions because I was already qualified like 4 watch stations. And I knew the reactor like the back of my fucking hand by that point. So there was not really much they could ask me that was going to stump the shit out of me. In fact, my XO sat on my board. And he tried to ask me about something to do with the control rods. I can't get into it right now. I can't actually talk about it, but he tried to ask me a trick question about the control rods and how they operate. And it was very funny to see his face when I just started drawing a diagram. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm explaining what you asked." And he was like, "Okay, you don't need to do that." Who are actually making the food had an advantage because they bring food. On our submarine, it was more like everybody brings food to bribe them kind of deal. It's more just like it's a nice gesture to make sure that they're comfortable while they're beating your ass with questions. This is just the way it was. But no, they would never allow the cooks to have an advantage like that. That's maybe they do on other submarines. I was only on 2, so and I only had to qualify on 1. My board on the Florida was like, "You served aboard the West Virginia for 2 years?" You're right. Yeah, that's right. And you were like all these things. I was like, All right, so draw the electrical diagram for me. All right, that's good. And the nuclear diagram? All right, you're good to go. That was basically my second board. It took like 30 fucking minutes, man. It was great. And then we sat in bullshit for another 30. It was awesome. But, I mean, I can see why they might say that, but that was not a thing that I really, really saw. Oh, and reports on the conditioning crew, the Lord Captain is not usually drawn away from her important affairs to attend such routine briefings, but this is a unique situation. I'm still receiving updates from across the ship, and they're not encouraging. Getting this bird to fly could take a gargantuan effort, even so far as you personally negotiating with authorities of the systems we are currently in. So prepare to hear a bevy of complaints and excuses, your ladyship. Take this opportunity to get a good look at the officers who work 6 decks away from the bridge, and they in turn will have the honor of beholding the visage of the Lord Captain. Mostly a joke, yes, true. The board thing was rarely failed. It was just hard to schedule as everyone was busy. Yeah, because you're doing it underway. So yeah, it is a hard thing to schedule. It took me once I was ready for the board. You have like a qual card that has all the things you need to get signed by all the different people of the boat. Once I had it completely filled out, it took me like 3 weeks to get the board. And mostly what the board is looking for is not to fail you. You're right. Almost no one fails. You have to be an absolute fucking idiot to fail the board, and some people do. But mostly what it's looking for is where you're weak on your knowledge of the submarine. Once you, basically the point of the Dolphins and the board itself is to make sure that if shit hits the fan and half the crew dies, you can half-ass do somebody else's job. So I knew how to operate most of the mechanical machinery. I was a mechanic, so I could operate most of the mechanical machinery of the auxiliary division, which were the conventional mechanics. There's no way in hell I'd be able to operate sonar, but at least I knew how the damn things worked, right? So it's kind of like one of those deals. Some of the jobs are a little bit more complicated than others, but it's basically like if they're all dead and you've got no choice, at least you're not like a monkey fucking a football, right, and banging on it with a hammer to try to get it to work. So, even though that's pretty much what I was anyway. And this alarm, what do you do? Yeah, pretty much. It's basically looking to find where your weakest knowledge of the boat is, and then what happens is that I did really well on my board. It took my first board. It took an hour for them to find 6 different things that I did not know, and they were very obscure. And then those 6 things were my board questions, where I go find the answer to those questions. I write a report, and then I submit those board questions back to the board. And then once I do that, I pass, and there you go. That's how it is. Have you succeeded in tracking down Voltavia? grits his teeth. No, Lord Captain. In all the commotion, his trail went cold. Our people are still on the hunt for him and any mutineers who may still be skulking in the ship's many corridors. But frankly, I would not be surprised to hear that we are now one shuttle short. I'm afraid that it will be some time before he answers for all that he has wrought. You know, it's one of those things, these ships are so big, like, you imagine he could probably hide on it for quite a while and not be found. This is one of those things, I am the lady captain, am I not? And it's like, it's a manhole cover. It's a manhole. It's not a person hole cover, okay? It's a manhole cover. You're a congressman, not a congressperson, okay? That's the name. Shut the fuck up. All right, let's start the briefing. Sate, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Have you made any more videos, my dude? With a gesture, Albert relays the order to the adjacents on the far end. Lurk away, my friend. Sorry, I didn't mean to ask questions. My bad. I've got so many damn projects, I don't even know what the fuck to do with myself. I'm still working on that Star Trek project. I've almost got it done. I'm making the video as we speak. I've been working on my political videos. And everything's been taking like amazing amounts of time. And I'm trying to frickin' finish Dragon Age, the Fail Guard, on the back of that. So, because I really do want to make a video about how that game is not an RPG. Not a role-playing game. It is technically, but it's one of these things where it's like, you remember Witcher? You play as Geralt, and your Geralt is your Geralt, but you build him in a different way. But the reason you can role play as Geralt, and it makes sense, is because every conversation has multiple things you can say that absolutely change the outcome of the game. From all appearances, there is no difference for anything that you fucking do in that game, except for the big choice that you make about the mayor and the dragon about halfway through the game. That seems to be fucking it. Everything else is just fluff, right? All the, oh, I'm a Kunari, so I can say this special thing. All it really does is give you special dialogue, and then maybe the person that you're talking to also has special dialogue related to that. And then that's about it. There's none of the dialogue choices seem to like make any bit of difference because you can only do one thing in one direction. It's all linear. There's no role playing outside of the dialogue. So it doesn't fucking do anything. Found the article I was talking about. You might find it interesting. Let me see. What's the, was it permit? Let me make sure it'll work. Bam, there you go. Nukes, nubs, and corners. Coners. Oh my god, I can't believe I read that wrong. Oh wow, it actually opened it up in here. Boy, that brings back memories. That's a fast attack submarine, by the way. The nub. The non-useful body. A waste of supply, food, and water. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Oh my god, the board. That's so good. I really wish that I could make the damn thing ignore. Links and stuff, but I can't for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh well. Okay, anyway. Retired U.S. Navy sonarman. He served both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Los Angeles class, fast attack, and Ohio class ballistic missile submarine. Yep, I served on 2 Ohio class. Nice. Manages small Patreon page and contributes to the war zone. Very nice. Very cool. Dozens of eyes. A dozen pair. Wait, what the fuck? That's not right. A dozen pairs? No, it's a dozen pair. Wait, is it? I guess it is pairs of eyes, yeah. For some reason, I thought the dozen made it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Bore into you. The expression revealing restraint, joy, curiosity, and wariness. Attention, officers. You have been granted an honor. Lord Captain Hope von Valentius will personally conduct today's briefing. Our most gracious Lord Captain is ready to hear your reports. What? Give me a precise, what are the major problems? Why the fuck does it do that? Anyway, perhaps you would introduce those present? As you wish, your ladyship. Albert points to a tall, slender woman whose body seems to contain many implants as it does flesh. Vigdis Suri Otto of the Toman line, our new Voxmaster. It is an honor to serve your ladyship, the Voxmaster offers a deep bow. Aboard this vessel, you have at your command thousands of crew members and hundreds of officers and section chiefs. I am responsible for receiving, processing, and sending all communications between you and them, as well as external sources. I am your eyes and mouth, Lord Captain. Dude, I think I'm gonna love this fucking game. Oh my god, so far I'm having so much fun with it. Besides her is Ravor, the master helmsman. He steers our ship along the course set by the Lord Captain and monitors the void around us to ensure that we do not stray into an asteroid field or pirate trap. I'm assuming one of the things we're going to need to do is find another astropath, right? Because ours died, right? The bearded man with pale, almost transparent skin, large dark circle under his eyes, and a dour expression that seems hardwired onto his face gives a sullen nod. Hail, Lord Captain! This here ship's as good as home to me, so rest assured she's safe in safe hands. I'll die before I let her come to any grief. Yeah. That's what I said. Isn't that? Wait, isn't that what an astropath is? Am I wrong on that? I thought an astropath. Oh, I got them mixed up. So so navigators are not astropaths. Astropaths are communication psychers. Okay, cool. Yeah, long range comms, correct. Yeah, so you're right. For some reason, I thought astropath was what they were supposed to, was what their like real name was, and then everybody called them navigators because it was easy for the idiot common people to understand. I thought that was somehow no, I was wrong. Yeah. Okay. And lastly, our High Factorum Janris Danrock, who oversees supplies, procurement, and the general material well-being of the ship. What the f... Dressed in an embroidered jacket, the heavy-set man with oiled hair offers obsequious smile and bows. It is an honor, your ladyship. You may trust me with all matters concerning your comfort. Everything will be done to the highest standard. I bet it is, by the way you fucking look. But yeah, you're correct. Astropaths, long-range communication, navigators are navigators. And you literally cannot. Well, I mean, you can go into the warp without a navigator, but you probably won't come out of it. In the second row, we have 3 officers charged with overseeing the ship's vital functions. The Master of Ordnance is responsible for the artillery aboard. The Infernus Master, whose crews work to prevent and extinguish fires on the ship. Right on. And lastly, the Drive Master, servant of the Omnissiah. Oh god, yes. My life for the Imperium. There you go. All right. The 3 officers salute you. The Infernus Master does so with confidence, while the Master of Ordnance betrays nervousness. The Drive Master offers a salute resembling a dance involving complicated manipulations of all the tech priests. Mechadendrite. Okay. The tentacle robotic limb prosthetic surgically attached to the spine. Cool. Oh, it's that guy. All right. Tech priests. Rulers of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They revere technology. The direct endeavors. Okay, the god of unforgiving crusade. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Albert. Greetings to you all. Is that everyone? Vox Master Victus. Unfortunately, our choir master, the esteemed... That choir master is the astropath. Yep, there... Boom. Look at that. Look at that. This game. This is how you make an RPG. BioWare. Fuckers. The esteemed Zachary Weiss, head of the Athropath selection, is unable to join us. He is in charge of communications with the distant star systems. Master Weiss has been in a trance for some time now, attempting to contact other planets in the Von Valencius Protectorate and inform them of Lady Theodora's passing and Conrad Voigtver's, I can't ever fucking pronounce his name, treachery. I will deliver a report to your ladyship on the Astropath's progress as soon as it is possible to do so. It is equally regrettable that two more individuals worthy of mention could not join us at this briefing. The Master-at-Arms and the Confessor... Master-at-Arms and Confessor Adalbert? Adalbert, okay. The eminent Adalbert must see to the funeral services being held for the fallen officers, of whom there are too many for him to take leave from the chapel. And Mistress Sauerbach, who has replaced her late predecessor as our Master of Arms, is currently leading the search for any survivors of Agent Voigtver. I know, right? So good, dude. And this is exactly how it was with their last game, where they had, you know, you could hover over stuff. It was really great. All others are present. All others present are adjutants, secretaries, and deputies. They are here to make a record of the proceedings. The Infernus Master, that's pretty cool, dude. As a submariner, everybody on the sub is a firefighter, so it's definitely something that that I find pretty cool. They actually, I want you to understand this. On aircraft carriers and many smaller surface vessels, they literally have a device called a fire pump. A fire pump. Now, 99% of the time, things are named for what they do. Like if you have a master coolant pump, it is probably the main coolant pump for something, right? But a fire pump does not, in fact, pump fire. Oh no, it pumps water for the fire suppression system. So a fire pump is how they charge and pressurize the fire hoses aboard most naval vessels. And that's what they're labeled, fire pump. Yeah, okay. The Infernus Master. Yeah, like fire hydrant, I guess. Yeah, kind of. But we've all grown up knowing what a fire hydrant is, because a hydrant, you know what I'm saying? It's a hydrant for fires, right? But it's not a pump for fires, it's a pump for water to fight fires. Yes, Lord Captain, a tall man bows his head in deference. I can report that all fires across all decks have now been extinguished. The preliminary damage assessment in terms of material losses and crew casualties has been completed. The results have been submitted to the Seneschal and the High Factorum. The post passed to him after the previous Infernus Master and his next 3 deputies expired in the line of duty. And Albert remarks in a low-pitched voice for your ears only, and the lad is managing well so far. He can take the heat, so to speak. Nice. Hi, Factorum. What have you to report? We are toiling day and night to compile a full account of the losses. The task will require next to no involvement from your ladyship. I will personally ensure that all damaged components are given into the tech priest's hands for attention, and that all lost supplies are replaced. There is only one resource that I cannot replenish single-handedly, and that is people. We have lost more than 2,000 crew members, and unfortunately this number is not confined to scum from the lower decks. which are easily replaced, but also includes trained professionals. Scum from the lower decks. I'm surprised there wasn't a fucking thing there so you could be like, scum. Huh. Lower deck personnel are essentially slaves. We will be able to make up the losses on the nearest planet, Rykad Minoris. However, the planet, the whole system in fact, belongs to the Winter Scale Rogue Trader dynasty. We cannot simply begin recruiting on the planet without first coming to an understanding with the governor. In that respect, I am powerless. Negotiations at this level are a matter for the Rogue Trader. Nice, our first hurdle to overcome. Okay. Especially true given Caligus's Winter Scale's penchant for attacking first and asking questions later, and the kind of thick-skulled thugs he usually installs as governors on his planets. Drive Master, I will hear from you now. A voice distorted by a Vox translator emerges from under the high-tech priest's scarlet hood. Lord Captain, the foes that set upon this noble void ship destroyed the repositories of hundreds of machine spirits. The great warp engine... and... wait. It says warp engine, not warp. Entrusted into my charge is unharmed. Thank the Omnissiah. But its spirit mourns its dead brethren. We have not yet identified a prayer protocol capable of assuaging its sorrow and anger. Ooh. I do like when machine spirits get angry. Yes. They tend to kill a lot of Xenos scum. With great sorrow, I must also report that the Engine Seer Prime, what does it say? Takes who specialize in the maintenance and repair of sacred machines. Okay. Overseer and spiritual authority of all tech priests on board fell in the battle. The Magos was betrayed by the little flesh that remained part of him, a most terrible loss. There is no one among my comrades aboard whose experience and comprehension of the sacred protocols equals that of the fallen Magos. We require a replacement as soon as possible. What? What do you mean? He spoke it. What? He was speaking plain English or High Gothic or whatever the fuck it is. What? How would you... Huh? I'm so confused. Why would you say this? The tech priest bows her head. Somewhere in the system. Master Helmsman, report. Right you are, Lord Captain. To cut a long story short, the outlook is bleak. The ship's sound, more or less, but without an Engine Seer Prime and a navigator... There we go. A sanctioned noble mutant whose genes allow them to safely guide a warp-capable void ship through the warp. Who fell in battle, we have no way out of the system. If we try to set so much as a toe inside the warp, I don't know what'll happen first. Our warp drive being torn into pieces, or all of us melting into the bulkheads. Your ladyship, if you will allow me to interject. We have arrived in this system. When we arrived in this system, my crew followed standard protocols and conducted a count of all available communication channels in the region. One of them was a Navis Nobilitae station. The ancient organization of noble mutant families whose genes allow them to safely navigate into the Immaterium. Okay, good. The station maintains complete Vox silence, but even in its presence here inspires hope. To have located a navigator in the very same system is an incredible stroke of luck, a true blessing of the God Emperor. Indubitably. If I were you, I'd grab this chance with both hands, or else you'll soon be eyeing up asteroids to use as your new residence. In slightly less shitty news, oh, it amuses me when officers say talks in such ways. In slightly less shitty news, we can go round and round the system till our heads are swimming, as long as the promethium and the supplies last. And if any thick as Grok's shit lowlifes come sniffing around, we'll be able to take them out. So don't you worry on that score. Master of Ordnance, report. Master of Ordnance gives you a gloomy look. No, my job's simple. Maintain the arsenal and fire when I'm told. But just ask anyone. We've got no able crew, no Lord Captain. What? You forget yourself! So what? Comes the officer's hostile and bitter reply. It is as if a dam has burst inside and as all pent-up emotions are rushing out of him. The ship's in ruins. Every second officer's dead. And now we've got a green Lord Captain who's supposed to lead us to void knows where? Silence! The bridge's magnificent glass panes seem to tremble under the force of Albard's roar. Enforcers, seize this mutineer! Oh, Hidden Sage, baby! What's up? How you doing? Albard grunts. If only one officer out of the hull has fallen to pieces, then it's not bad at all. Your ladyship, I do humbly apologize on behalf of the entire crew. What would you have us do with the Master of Ordnance? The former Master of Ordnance, I should say. Besides, besides find a replacement, that is, for we already have one lined up. Seizing might involve a certain amount of clubbing. Yeah, I know, right? All right, so let's see what our options are. I'm too busy lately. Work is dumb. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I do enjoy our combos, though, man. On frickin' on Discord. Thoroughly enjoying it, my dude. If you ever want to argue while I'm live, we should make a stream out of it. Love this game. I gotta at least hang out and lurk for it. Cheers, mate. Stand down, release him. I have no intention of punishing a man for a moment of weakness, not after but the terrible attack we endured. Execute him. Experienced Master of Ordnance are few and far between, so for that reason, he may remain at his post. I'll leave your punishment. Ooh, oh man. Oh, come on. Like, I have a feeling this is gonna bite me in the ass if I don't execute him. I want to execute him. This is the Imperium of Man. You don't do that. You don't do that at all. That is like, you are fucking retarded if you say shit like that. Like if he'd have said it in whispers, like in the crew's mess, maybe he'd only got like a flogging, right? But to say it to my face during a briefing? Yep. We are a newly installed Lord. And we must ensure that everyone understands exactly how things run around here. Albard, execute him. Albard nods stiffly. Consider it done. Take him away. Look, doesn't even like pause, doesn't even nope. Roger that, Captain. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish they'd have given me the opportunity to execute him. The brittle laughter of the Master of Ordnance reverberates around the bridge as he is led to his fate. Like I said, I wish they'd let me done it, because that's one of those things, right? Like it's you got to do the new CEO move, right? That's how you got to work. When you get installed as the new CEO, you're the new leader. You got to do something that's like out of the box to ensure that everyone knows that you're here to like, that you're in charge and that you know what the fuck you're doing. So basically, like, walk over, pull out the last pistol, or you know, use my psychic powers and just throw his corpse out of the airlock. That would have been awesome. To summarize, we have sustained serious losses in crew members, and we require a new engine seer prime and navigator. Is this all that's preventing us from continuing the voyage? Precisely, Lord Captain. But bear in mind that this will not be the end of our trials. The ship system must be properly inspected for major damage, which we can only be carried out at a footfall station, massive void port at the edge of the Kronos Expanse, notorious hotbed for vice, trade, and rogue trader intrigue. That someone would have lost their shit? Yeah, I know, right? Again, the only criticism I have is I wanted to execute him myself. Give me more dogmatic. Let's go. Home to not only a dockyard in the home to the only dockyard in the sector. Wait, we're in the Kronos Expanse. I've heard that before. Where did I hear that? Where did I hear that? There's another story that I read where that was in the Kronos Expanse. Largely unexplored. Oh, that's right. It was first discovered in the 30. Maybe that's why. It was because it was discovered in the 38th millennium. That's why. And it's not actually part of the I can't remember where I saw it. Anyway, might have been because it's next to the Calixis sector. Without first solving these 3 immediate problems. Okay. What can you tell me about the system which we currently find ourselves? I cede to the Vox Master on this point, Mistress Dolemon. We are in the Rykard star system, and our voyage here was undertaken on the orders of your ladyship's predecessor. There are 3 inhabited bodies in this system, and our attempts to send Vox messages have produced confounding results. The Navis Nobilitas station has not simply failed to answer, it seems to be maintaining total Vox silence. However, we did receive a distress signal from the prison planetoid in the system, and Rykard Minoris itself is also not responding to our hails. But what is most alarming is that our augers, those are sensors, right? Sensor technology, okay. It's funny that they call them that. I wonder why they use that word. Have intercepted signals from the surface that seem to indicate ongoing hostilities on the planet. The situation is not very encouraging. Without a navigator, a tech priest, and new crew members, we won't be able to travel anywhere. Therefore, we must go to the planet and the Navis Nobilita station to find out what is going on. All right, boys, I need to take a break. I'll be right back. Stand by, stand by, stand by. We shall return right off these messages from our break screen. Stay tuned, my dudes, for more right here at the Tango Hotel. I'm ready for this. Let's go. All right. The situation is not very encouraging. Without a navigator, tech priest, and new crew members, we won't be able to travel anywhere. Oops. Excuse me one second. Let me fix my mic. There we go. Just. All right, there we go. Okay. Find out what's going on. Thank you all for your reports. You are dismissed. They salute, and off they go. Your ladyship, there is one other thing. A confidential matter of the utmost importance. Lady Theodora, your eternally esteemed predecessor, brought the ship here to this system for a reason. She was given a secret commission. You perhaps are wondering who is the authority to commission a rogue traitor to do anything, and I shall tell you. The Lord Inquisitor, a secret organization, tasked with hunting down a myriad of threats. The Hand of the Emperor, the chief architect of his will in the Kronos Expanse. Scattered, poorly explored region. Okay. I came across a strange handwritten letter on Theodora's desk. It was signed XC. You're referring to the contents of that note, I presume? Yeah, let's do that one. Yes, quite right. Okay. XC, Xavier Calcazar. Okay. Lady Theodora was to seek out the Lord Inquisitor's right-hand man, one Hendrix von Kallax. An interrogator, you understand. All I know is that he is somewhere in this system, and that we must find him and offer him whatever assistance that he requires. and then to deliver him to the Footfall in the Furibundus system. Finding him without any more information to go on will be difficult indeed, but an Inquisitor is an important individual. But an Inquisitor is an important individual. The authorities in this system, neither the Navis Nobilita or the governor of Ricus Minoris, may know something. That is all of it, your ladyship. You have a great deal of work ahead of you, but it is a mere taste of the daily burden of a rogue trader. Soon you must take up the reins of the Von Valencius Protectorate. Albert gives you another scrutinizing look as if trying to gauge how long you will hold out under the mountain of problems. His face softens slightly, and it seems about to offer you some words of encouragement. And shit hits the fan. Let's go! Idra, Sister Argentia, explain yourselves! The Sister of Battle grimly nods toward Idra, the devout warrior who served the militant arm of the Adeptus Ministorum. The Psyker is suffering some ailment or dark madness. She insisted on seeing the rogue trader. I judged that it would be unwise to leave her unsupervised. Dude, I like her. The more she talks, the more I like her. It's like, sister, if I were to fall to chaos, you would shoot me in the face, correct? Immediately. Immediately. For a brief moment, Sister Argenta's voice sounds hesitant. I was also hoping to approach you with a personal request, but it can wait. Speak with me when you have time, rogue trader. She's a fan favorite, to be sure. Oh, no doubt, dude. Dude, Sister Sororitas are fucking awesome, dude. I don't know why so many idiots have to bitch about female Space Marines when you have the Adeptus Sororitas. Like, what the fuck, dude? Seriously. They're not even like they're not even like most women in media where they have traditional beauty standards. They're all scarred and fucked up and shit. Like, it's great, dude. Like, it fits so well, too. And their origin story is just awesome, right? Like, the whole thing is so 40K. It's not even funny, right? You know, the betrayal, they served this dude that ended up being some asshole and tried to take over the Imperium, and then once they executed his ass because they realized he had betrayed the Imperium, they were rolled into the Adeptus Ministorum instead of being purged because they were so fucking faithful. And they even often perform miracles because of their faith. Like, it's and they can fight alongside Space Marines as normal humans in fucking power armor. It's insane. Very 40K. And to be fair, there's something interesting about religious zealots how should I put this? Militant religious zealots that are female. There's just something about that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Idra's glazed eyes rove over those assembled. One worst bursts from her lip. Daybreak. Bring this witch to heel. I mean, technically I'm a witch too, so, come to your senses! Damn it! Idra presses her fingers to her temples in desperation. Your ladyship! Here's the thing. I was trying to see the immediate future. I need to calm down. Just... So your unsanctioned ass, let's get this straight, your unsanctioned ass was looking into the warp to try to see the future. Okay. And it hit me so hard, ha ha ha. My head is still spinning. Something very strange is heading our way. I can't make out what it is, no matter how hard I try. A single word is all I can make out. Daybreak. Or maybe it's dawn? And it's ringing. And ringing like an echo, like a bell. But if it's daybreak, then why is it so dark? We cannot extract any information from a single word. Can you tell us anything else, Mistress Talas? She does seem to be one of the trusted associates of your predecessor. Yeah, for what that's worth. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But as a sanctioned psyker, I have a explicit distaste for the unsanctioned variants. No, not yet.